Story time about the worst day I've ever had at my job. Let's go. And someone please tell me what you would have done in this situation, because I felt like I was a little too nice, but I didn't know how to go about it. This is my first job, my first real job, so I didn't know what to do. So I work at this place called Giggletown, and if you've never heard of it, it's essentially an indoor play area for kids ages 0 to 8. So if you're above 8, you can't play, and keep that in mind. This day already started off really bad because I woke up and I started my period. Great way to start the day. And I have endometriosis, so the pain level was up here. So I was just tired, I was hurting, I was in pain, everything was overstimulating, so keep that in mind as well. I get there at 9 a.m. Not even 15 minutes later, people start coming in, which is fine. We're a very known, popular area, and everyone loves to come in and play. So everyone keeps coming in, and keep in mind that my boss is there, which is the owner, and she's doing some things with the technology and data and everything because we have some problems there, so she's trying to take care of that. And so every, I would say 10 to 15 minutes, you have to do a round and pick up all the toys and put them back where they go. Of course, I didn't feel like doing that because I was in a lot of pain, but I was doing that anyway because that's my job. So we had people coming in. There's a line out the door. It's not even 10 a.m. yet. We open at 9. And there's a line out the door. I'm getting all these people in. I'm not paying attention to anyone else. And so I'm getting all these people in. Maybe an hour goes by and things calm down a little, but we're packed inside. And so after I do my round, I hear the bell at the door go off. So I go up front to get the family in. And it's this mom, her mom, which is the grandma of the kids, and she has 3 kids with her. She has an older girl, an older boy, and then a young, toddler. So anytime someone comes in, I always ask, I'm like, hey, have you ever been here before? If so, let me check on that safety waiver for you so that you can get in. And if they've never been before, then you have to fill out a safety waiver. It's just basically saying that, hey, your kid is not our responsibility, blah, blah, blah. So I asked if they've ever been here before, and the mom said yes. And I said, okay, well, what's that first and last name? I can go ahead and check that safety waiver for you, make sure you're all good to go. And so she gives me her first and last name, and I make her spell it out for me because I don't want to spell it wrong. So I spell it out, and I'm looking, I'm like, and spell that for me again, and she spells it, and it's right. And I'm looking, no safety waiver. And sometimes our system does this where the waivers don't go through, so they have to fill it out again, which only takes 30 seconds max. So I'm like, ma'am, I'm not seeing the waiver on here, which is no big deal. You're just going to have to fill it out again. And the mom goes, I already filled it out. And I said, ma'am, I know that, but our system is having technical difficulties. My boss is working on it right now. But you really do have to fill this out in order for your kids to go in. And she's like, whatever, I'll fill it out again. And I'm like, okay. So then as she's filling it out, I'm like, okay, I just wanted to ask, does everyone have socks? And she's like, yes, I have socks in my bag. With the snarkiest tone. And I'm like, okay, all right. And she says they all have socks. I'm like, that's fine. And the grandma, I'm looking over the counter, and the grandma was wearing flip-flops with no socks. And I said, hey, ma'am, I just wanted to let you know everyone has to be wearing socks if you're going to be in the play area. If you don't have them, that's fine. We sell them for $3. And after I say that we sell them for $3, she goes and looks at the mom, and I'm like, I'm just doing my job. I'm already getting fed up at this point. I'm on my period, overstimulated by everything. So I'm like, ma'am, $3, no big deal. I take the adult socks, put them down nicely on the desk, and she snatches it from me, and I'm like, okay. And so I ring up the kids. Oh, I forgot to mention, I asked how old the kids were because you have to be up until 8 years old to play. I asked how old the kids were. The toddler was 2.5. No, I lied. 1.5, just starting to walk. And the older boy was 7, and the older girl was 9. And I said, ma'am, you do know that you know, our age limit is only up to 8. And then she goes, oh, she's 8. She's 8. And I said, okay. Second lie of the day, by the way. So finally, they go in, and I'm not focused on them, okay? I got people flooding in here. People love Giggletown at this time. It's like rush hour for Giggletown. People are coming in, flooding in. I'm trying to do what I'm supposed to do. So after the flood of people come in, I'm like still checking the waivers and making sure everything's good up front. My boss walks over to the desk. This is maybe 10 minutes after that family comes in. She comes over to the desk. Hey, Bailey, I just wanted to let you know that that family over there isn't wearing socks. And I peep my head around the corner. It's that same family that told me that they all had socks. So you're a liar. You're a liar and you're a liar. You lied twice. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe she didn't lie at all. Maybe she actually does have socks and she just forgot. So I went up to her and I said, I was very respectful and I kept my demeanor fine. And I said, hey, ma'am, I just wanted to let you know, I don't know if you forgot, but everyone does have to be wearing socks. I noticed your little girl was running around and she's barefoot, and she does have to be wearing socks, including you as well. And she looks up at me from her phone like this and goes, I've never heard of that rule. What? What do you mean you've never heard of that rule? So anyway, I'm like, yes, ma'am, you do have to be wearing socks in the play area. And guys, I feel like that's common sense. I feel like you should know if you're going to an indoor play area, you're going to be wearing socks, okay? So anyway, I'm like, it's no big deal, ma'am. If you don't have socks, we do sell them up front for $3. It's no big deal. And she's like, you know what? I'll just hold my daughter the whole time. And I said, okay, fine. Just hold your daughter. I don't care. And so I'm like, okay, but you do have socks, right? And she's like, oh, yes, they're in my bag. So I physically watch her pull them out and put them on, but she doesn't have socks for her daughter. So I'm like, okay. So she holds her daughter in the little like baby carrier, and I go back up front. More people are coming in. I'm getting them inside Giggletown so that I can walk around, do a few laps, do my job. So it's time for my 4th or 5th lap to clean up toys. I'm walking out to go clean up the toys, and I see that same little girl running around barefoot. And at this point, I'm getting pissed off. So I'm like, I have to address her again, and I really don't know what to say. So I go up to her again, and I say, ma'am, I know you don't want to hear from me again, but you do have to be wearing socks inside of Giggletown, okay? Okay. So she keeps telling me, she's like, I've never heard of that rule. I've never heard of that rule. And at this point, I'm just like, ma'am, if you've been to Giggletown plenty of times, you would know about our sock rule. So at this point, I just don't even care anymore. I'm really fed up. And so, you know what? I'm just going to be nice. I go up front, and I get the toddler socks, and I'm like, it's on me. I'll give them to you for free. Just take the socks. Take the socks. And she's like, I don't want the socks. I told you I would hold her the whole time. And I'm about to cry. I'm literally so mad, and she's just being so rude. So finally, her daughter runs over to her, and she picks her daughter up, and I said, ma'am, just take the socks. Just take the socks. It's no big deal. Just take the socks. And she said, no, I'll just hold her. I'm like, you know what? Fine. I quit. I'm done. So I go back up to the front because more people are coming in. And as I turn around to walk away to go towards the front, she turns to her mom and she goes, if she should be addressing anything, she should be addressing that big zit on her chin. Huh? And at this point, I'm livid. So I turn around and I go, excuse me? And she looks over at me and she's just like glaring at me, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I said, ma'am, I heard you, and if you don't like our rules with Giggletown, you can simply just leave. And my boss is over there. If you don't like the rules, take it up with her. And eventually they left. They left like 10 minutes after that, but I was so mad and I didn't know what to do. What would you guys do in this situation? Because it literally made me so mad. Like, don't be rude and don't be disrespectful. Don't.
I got harassed by a 50-year-old grown man because I turned down a job at his creepy little animal clinic and it went way further than I expected. I was 18 working my first job at a retail store, and if you've ever worked retail or fast food, I'm sure you have your regular customers that come in. One of mine was this older man. We'll call him Rob for the sake of this story. But he came in like at least twice a week for his newspapers, and he would also come in to get like snacks and food. His clinic was super close to this store. He would also come in pretty regularly with his grandson and pick out like drinks and snacks for his grandson after he got off from school. His daughter would also come in pretty regularly. She was probably in her like mid to late 20s. He was always super rude to me, very cold. I never really understood why. It was really weird. I had worked at the store for over a year at this point, and I had seen Rob like at least twice a week for over this year, so I recognized him, knew of him. Outside of that, I didn't really know a whole lot about him. Rob came in one day, acted super sketchy now looking back at it, but he like panned around to make sure nobody was listening when it was just me alone at this register, and he offered me a job at his clinic. He said that he had somebody that was about to leave, so the job was going to be opening soon, and he needed somebody to start as soon as possible, and he thought that I'd be a really good fit for the job. And honestly, I was kind of stoked about it at the time. I loved animals. I was looking for another job. I was 18 again, looking to move out of my parents' place. Like, this felt like a perfect opportunity just falling into my lap. It felt way too good to be true. It was way too good to be true. It just at this point felt like a dream. Like, I was so excited. We ended up exchanging personal phone numbers. We then set up an interview, and the agreement was that I was going to come in for like a 4-hour shift, and I was going to shadow the woman. We'll call her Betty for the sake of this story. I was going to come shadow her and see what the first 4 hours of like what my workday would look like. We'll fast forward to the interview because nothing really happened in between that time span outside of that quick exchange. Betty was so sweet. I cannot emphasize enough how much Betty was so sweet. I was sad that I wasn't going to be working with her because she seemed like such a genuine and fun person to be around. Right away, she started saying some things that were sending the alarm bells off in my noggin, and it was. She said she had worked there for off and on for about 9 years, which at first seemed like a good thing. Like, I was like, oh, this must be a reliable job. Even if you've left a few times, if you've come back, there had to be a good reason for you to come back. But then she said Rob never hired more than one person at a time, which is crazy for an animal clinic or any kind of clinic. That is insane. To have just one person, like the one vet, and then one other person on staff when you're running a business like an animal clinic, that's crazy. Then she mentioned that she pretty much handled everything outside of surgery. Like, everything else was her job at that clinic. She handled cleaning, meds, filling prescriptions, booking appointments, the phone calls, like everything was hers. And she said that after his grandson got off from school and came to the clinic, because he would bring his grandson to the clinic back with him after school, she was in charge of babysitting him. She wasn't allowed to ever tell his grandson no or discipline him in any way, or Rob would lash out. And it wasn't like a, hey, don't talk to my grandson like that kind of lash out. She said that it was like a screaming in her face, don't ever tell him no kind of lashing out. Like, she had things physically thrown at her over this. I also want to add that there was only 2 like patient rooms in this building. She gave me a tour. That also, being in a clinic and only having 2 patient rooms, I later in the future worked in an actual vet clinic that was very professionally run. The thought of having only 2 patient rooms in the clinic that's such a stressful thought. And then she opened one of these clinic rooms and showed that it was blocked off to be a playroom for this grandson, except he couldn't play in it because it was filled to the brim with toys. Like, you could not see the floor. It was like if Hoarders, but like only Toys R Us. Then she said that he had made it very clear that he believed men were far superior to women. Women were very below men in his mind, and he had even told her that he didn't believe women deserved the right to vote. He said he spent majority of his workday locked in his office, and you were to never go into his office, ever. Not even to clean it. She said she made the mistake one time to go in and try to tidy it up for him, and it ended up in her being screamed at in the face and him throwing a temper tantrum because she tried to clean his office. Oh, and his daughter, the one that was super rude to me, she said that it was very normal for her to come in and just steal money from the cash drawer, and that you just had to let her do it because if you didn't, Rob would yell at you. And she also said that even if she did let his daughter just take money out of the cash drawer, he would still yell at her over it because she was allowing his daughter to steal from him. She just couldn't win. Betty couldn't win. At this point, I'm realizing this is not the dream job that I had pictured and anticipated at all. And Rob wasn't even there yet. But then Rob did get there, and he got a phone call from one of his patients that was on a farm and asked me to accompany him in his truck alone to go to said farm. I'm running out of time. Part 2 is already posted on my page. So I'm shadowing at this job that I believed was my dream job, and the current employee turns around and tells me that the owner is both violent, sexist, and allows his daughter to steal from the cash drawer, and if you don't let the daughter steal from the cash drawer, he yells at you about it. And then he walks in the door. Rob walks in, the energy in the room immediately shifts, and everything that Betty just told me about this man is starting to click, and I'm suddenly very afraid of this man. Not even 15 minutes of him being there, he gets a phone call from a patient that's on a farm, and he needs to go out there to administer vaccines, and he asks me if I would be willing to accompany him to administer these vaccines, and that I would be going with him alone. Now, mind you, I was 18. This was still technically a job interview, and I was trying to be professional about it, and I didn't really know how to say no in this situation. So, naturally, I got in the truck with him. Vibes were off immediately. He tried to make small talk, but it felt really weird, and then he turned to me and said, "You know, you're such a beautiful young girl." Y'all, I froze. I'm sitting in a car with a man that's like 3 times my age. We're on our way to a farm, according to him, that he got a phone call about. And then I was like, wait, what if he didn't even get a phone call? What if I just got in this car with this stranger and this was his plan all the time? What if I'm about to get like kidnapped or something? I ended up texting my friend, telling her like a brief summary of like, hey, I'm texting you because I don't really feel safe right now. If something happens, I'm at this job interview with this guy. He's giving me bad vibes. I put my phone away because I was still, again, at a job interview. So I was trying to be professional about it, but I definitely wanted to notify someone of the situation, considering what I had just found out about this guy and the fact that I was alone in a truck with him. Luckily, there was a farm. The farm was real, and when we pulled in, there was a whole family that was already outside, which was like a, for me, immediate sigh of relief. And then he immediately just shoved a clipboard into my hands, which caught me by surprise. He told me it was my job to write down all of the vaccines that he administered and to keep track of everything he was doing. The problem with this is I did not know anything pertaining to vet medicine or vet career or literally anything. I was a cashier yesterday, so I was terrified that I was going to mess this up, and I kept asking him questions to clarify that I was doing what he wanted me to do properly. He got very annoyed with me very fast, like very, very fast. What did he expect? Again, I was a cashier yesterday. I don't know if he expected me to have some like vet tech training overnight and become a genius, but that was not gonna happen. The whole appointment felt like a fever dream. There were so many weird moments in it, and I think my brain genuinely just blocked a lot of it out. But the overall span of the drive there, drive back, and the appointment was about an hour and a half long. Definitely one of the most uncomfortable experiences I've had. I did not feel safe. When we got back to the clinic, he got an emergency phone call very shortly after. Something about a cow that was having difficulty while in labor, and it was after that like I had my final straw. I was like, oh, okay, no, this is not the job for me. I'm so sorry, I'm running out of time again. Part 3 is already posted. So I'm trapped alone with this man in a truck. He has made very creepy comments towards me. He got very annoyed with me that I did not have any vet training, even though he was well aware that I had no vet training. And now I'm back at the clinic with Betty. Rob leaves for this cow birth emergency, and me and Betty spend the last hour that I'm there just talking and chatting. Honestly, she was such a light in the situation. She was so sweet, and I truly believe she was being dishonest with me just to warn me. She had already put in her 2 weeks notice, and she had told me that she was about to move and about to dip, and I truly think she just did not want somebody to be in the kind of work environment that she had been dealing with off and on for the last 9 years. She was a single mom, and I really got the impression that the only reason she kept going back to this job is because it was one that she had and that she knew how to do. She had talked about how it wasn't always as bad as it had been lately, but that she just couldn't take it anymore. Oh, also, all of the pay that he paid for her was completely under the table. It was not documented. I don't even believe she was documented as an employee, and he exclusively paid in cash, which also felt like a red flag to me. There would have been no documentation of my paychecks, and that felt a little bit sketchy to me. Rob comes back. At this point, I think there's like 15 minutes left of my 4-hour shadowing shift. He comes back and Betty asks very concerningly, how did it go? And he laughs, like Cruella de Vil style laughs, and then says, the heifer was dead before I even got there. Huh? I already knew I wasn't going to take this job, but that kind of solidified it for me. I do not understand how you could choose to work in that kind of field and be so harsh towards animals and have no empathy for them. That was insane to me. When I left, I thanked Rob and I thanked Betty for the opportunity and told them that I really appreciated it, and I was very polite about it. I knew I wasn't going to take this job. I wanted to still handle turning it down very professionally, but I did not feel comfortable talking to this man about this in person. It made me very anxious. Maybe that's a fault on my part. Maybe it is a conversation I should have had in person, but I was scared of this guy. So the next day, I ended up writing out a text. I very politely told him that I really appreciated him keeping me in mind for this. I appreciated the opportunity, but I had found something that felt a lot more fitting for me and that I think I was going to go with that instead. But I told him over and over again, thank you so much for the opportunity, because I was scared of him and I didn't want him to hate me. That was a big mistake on my part, apparently, because things escalated very quickly. Later that evening, he blew up my phone. Not by text, he just kept trying to call me, and I had my phone on Do Not Disturb because I believe I was at church that evening, so I did not see him calling me until I got out. And at that point, when I had 8-10 missed calls from this guy, I was not going to call him back. That felt kind of crazy to me. And then later that evening, I got 2 voicemails after 11 p.m., and he was very clearly under the influence of something, and I couldn't even understand what he was saying outside of calling me names and being very disrespectful towards me, but most of what he was saying was so slurred that I could not understand it other than he sounded very angry. All because I very politely declined the job that he offered me. The next morning, I immediately went to my manager when I went into work. He was still a regular customer, so I wanted her to know what had happened and what I had just experienced. Shout out to her. Honey, if you see this, I still tell everyone you are my favorite manager I've ever had. I haven't worked for her in 6 years. And she, God send, I love you. She ended up telling me that she really wasn't that surprised and that this guy had a really bad reputation in the town. News to me, I was homeschooled. I was not in the loop of the small town lore, but everybody else apparently knew that this guy was awful. But thank God for her and my coworkers, because later that same day, guess who came in? Rob came in during our afternoon rush, and he didn't come straight to the register for his newspaper like he normally did. He very weirdly lingered within the aisles until nobody else was in the store but me and him that he could see. He waited till I was alone at the register. When he came up to the register, he immediately got very hostile with me, started accusing me of leading him on, which is crazy, and just started calling me pretty much any name in the book that you could think of. He told me I would never be more than a cashier, that I was one of the most disrespectful girls he had ever met in his life. Also, a side note, he never referred to me as a woman. He always referred to me as a girl. Told me that I was a pretty girl and that I was a disrespectful girl. Felt a little weird. Thankfully, because I had already talked to my manager about this, she kind of was already keeping an eye out in her office on the cameras, and as soon as she seen him, she came up to the register so I wasn't alone with him, and as soon as she got up there and he seen her, he grabbed his stuff and quickly left. Which to me just proves how much of a coward he really was. But it also sucked a little bit because if he would have been yelling at me and she's seen it, she would have had the rights to ban him. Later that day, when the rest of my coworkers came in for shift change, my manager got everyone together, explained to them the situation, and stated that if they ever seen Rob in the store, I was to not be left alone on register or anywhere in the store for my own safety. And while she was having this conversation, side note, this store that I worked at was right next to a local factory, and a lot of the blue collar workers came into the store on their breaks to get like snacks, drinks, cigarettes. They always came into here, and this happened right at the time that a lot of them came in on their break. These were my more regular customers. I seen these guys almost daily, and they overheard what my manager was telling my coworkers, and even they were like, we'll make sure that she's not alone with him if we see him come in. One of these guys came in literally almost every day. He always got a Mountain Dew, a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, and a pack of Eagle Red 20s. And he seen Rob come in one day. And he was on break, and I know that he left late for his break when he got back to work because he seen Rob come in. He stayed by my register for a solid 20 minutes and waited until Rob left. And in that span, he even bought me a snack and a drink because he knew we were going to be waiting for a bit because he knew what Rob was doing. So, shout out to you, man. I still remember that. And he deadpan stared Rob the whole time because he knew what Rob was doing. He like just death glare for the whole time that he seen him, and he ate with that. I loved it. But literally everybody did stuff like that anytime Rob came in. They all went so far, like above and beyond, to make sure that I felt safe, and there's really no way that I could say thank you enough, because if it weren't for them, I feel like this would have scared me way more than it did. But because my whole team was like that, and because a lot of my regular customers were also like, no, it made me, I didn't have to worry about Rob anymore, because they were worried about it for me. Quite literally will never forget about it. They made me feel like the people's princess. I had a bunch of voluntary blue-collar bodyguards, and I had never felt more safe in my life. Also, shout out to Betty for being so honest with me. If she hadn't been, I probably would have taken the job, and there's no telling what kind of work environment I would have gotten myself into. I was also very naive at 18, and if I would have ended up in an environment like that, I don't know if I would have had the confidence in myself or the courage to tell anyone about it. Like, there's no telling how dangerous that situation could have been for me if it wasn't for her. I'm so glad that I trusted my gut, even though it was really scary. And moral of the story, if something feels off, believe yourself. And if someone tells you something's off, listen to them, please.
Ready with me while I tell you guys some horror stories that I've seen and witnessed and experienced working at Ulta during my very first holiday season. Because trust me, people were trying it this year. I didn't work last holiday season because me and my family normally go out of town for Christmas. But now, since I work full-time, I have to work the weekend and the week leading up to Christmas, so I already knew it was going to be a hot mess. Everybody knows you cannot go wrong with a really good perfume or cologne for your loved one. But at my location, since we're located in a mall and people are thieves, we have to lock our perfumes up. So we were already anticipating the large amount of people coming to get help with the perfume section. We all have keys that we can use to get into the fragrance displays. But with that being said, we only had like 2 people available to work in fragrance that entire day because people still needed help on the registers. They needed help finding product. People needed shade matches. So there was a wait for fragrances. So there was a specific day where I had to let one of my coworkers know that it was time for her break, and I just so happened to see her coming from the back room. So I went on the walkie-talkie and I was like, hey girl, don't even worry about coming back up here. You need to take your break. And I already know you're gonna continue to get stopped if you come back up here to finish up with your guests, so I'll just finish up. Let me know what I have to tell your guests and I'll take care of them. She's responding on the walkie-talkies telling me to tell her guests that we don't have a specific product in stock. And the second I get over there, this woman's like, excuse me, I need help with the fragrance. And I was like, oh, okay, sorry, let me just finish up with this guest right here. I'll be with you next. She's like, I've already been waiting for somebody to help me, and everyone keeps saying they're busy. That person is already being helped by somebody. And I was like, yeah, so that associate just had to take her break. I just have to finish up with her guest. And she's like, this doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, yes, ma'am, I'm sorry for the wait, but, you know, we're helping multiple people at once. I'll be with you next second. So she eventually gets help. She goes about her day, and that's that. And now this next story apparently happened when I wasn't there that day. So one of my close friends texted me about what had happened. Apparently this man came in and he had an attitude because he had to wait to be helped with the fragrances. One of the girls that was stationed in the fragrance actually had the time to help him. So she attempts to help him, and he starts being really uncomfortable with her and asking her really weird questions, and she's not having it, rightfully so. And she goes to get the manager involved. So my manager comes over, she helps him pick out whichever fragrance he wants, and she lets him know, hey, it's our policy, we have to walk all the fragrances up to the front. The fragrance is going to be waiting for you when you get up there. Just let us know which one you have. He didn't like the fact that he would have to wait to get online, and he started getting really irate and disrespectful with my manager. And he decided to threaten my manager and say I should punch her in the face, mainly because he had to wait in line to go purchase his fragrance. I have another story, again, related to the perfumes. I'm literally in the middle of helping a guest pick out multiple fragrances, and a woman decides to come stand near me and hover, and that's one of my biggest pet peeves because guests do all the time. They won't say anything to you. They'll hover and stand there on top of you while you're helping someone else until you're like, hey, excuse me, do you need help finding something? I'm continuing to help out my guest, and all of a sudden I hear a hello. And I turn around, and that same woman is standing there, and I said, hi, how can I help you today? She goes, where's Fenty? And I said, Fenty's that way. And she goes, can you come help me find it? I said, oh, no, sorry, I'm helping my guest right here, but Fenty's back that way. You can't miss it. It's the second aisle right before you hit the door. She literally looks me up and down, sucks her teeth, and walks away. In what world am I supposed to stop what I'm doing to help one guest to go assist you on the aisle that you want? Because the second I get over to Fenty, you're going to want a shade match for a foundation and a powder and a blush and a bronzer. And it's not fair to the guest that I'm helping that I'm going to stop to help you. Another thing that me and my other coworkers have noticed, that while we're up at the register and someone's coming to get a fragrance, there's no, hi, how are you today? It's, I have that perfume behind you. We definitely understand that some people are in a rush, but it gets to a point where it's all day, every day. No, hi, hello, how are you? Everyone wants a me now. That's mine. Give me this, give me that. Another one of my favorites is when they get up to the register and I'm like, hi, how are you today? And they go, oh, I have a perfume. And I said, okay, which one? Because I have a box with 15 different perfumes and colognes behind me. And they go, that one. Which one? That one. What's the brand? It starts with a V. Versace, Valentino. I think it's the Valentino. Okay. Another thing I also want to talk about is this younger generation. I'm sorry, I know I sound like somebody's grandma when I say this, but the interactions I have with teenagers are the most unhinged ones I have. There are times when I'm at the register and a teenager comes up to me, we have a really great conversation about whatever product they're getting, and the conversation goes good until it's time for them to give me their money because they don't know how to count it. Like, I'm definitely very much a part of the we listen and we don't judge trend, but I wasn't the best person when it came to math either, but at least I knew how to count some money. For example, let's just say there was a time I was talking to a girl. She had to be like 15, 16, and she had bought some product. Her product came up to like $16 and change. And I'm like, okay, your total is $16.43, for example. And she literally picks up $25 and 5, 10 singles, and she's like, is this enough? And I'm like, she didn't bother counting it, anything. She handed me a wad of money and asks me, is that enough? It truly makes me wonder what they teach kids in school now, because in my case, my mom made sure I knew how to count some money just to make sure nobody was robbing me at the register. Another example I have of truly feeling scared for our generation is when I'm signing up people for the rewards program, especially teenagers, and they don't know where they live. So I was signing this girl up for the loyalty program. She had to be like same age as maybe the last girl, 15, 16, and everything's going well. She gives me her street address, and I'm like, okay, what's your zip code? And she kind of looks at me kind of funny, and I was like, you know, like your zip code, like when you're telling somebody your address, it's like 5 numbers. Usually most people live close to the mall, so I start saying the zip code for the mall. I'm like 207, like what, like, and she's kind of looking at me. She goes, I don't know. And then I was like, oh, okay. What part of Maryland do you live in? Like Silver Springs, New Carrollton, Lanham, College Park. And she's like, I don't know. And she decides to like Google her address. And it's really funny to me because how do you not, and it drives me crazy because what do you mean you don't know where you live? Like you don't know what part of the state you live in. And I know we can only blame the school system for so long before we have to start talking about parents not parenting. I'm not a parent, so I'm not aware of how hard it is to actually raise a child. Like a lot of parents will stand around and let their kids be lost and do nothing to attempt to help them or correct them. But most of the time, most parents just stand around and look at me, looking at their kid, and go about their day. Thanks for getting ready with me while I tell you my horror stories about working at Ulta this holiday season. And let me know if you guys want any more horror stories, because trust me, I have a lot.
Hello, welcome into the place I work at. What's a good phone number for your rewards account? Oh no, this is my first time shopping here. Just put your phone number in. I'm so sorry, I cannot do that. I will get fired. Hi, welcome to the register of the place I work at on Black Friday, where we're fucking slammed. How are you today? Yeah, I want to purchase this cologne. I need to use Afterpay, but I don't know how to do it. Okay, let me be really nice and try to help you set that up really quick. Boop, 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 boop. Let's try to set it up. Oh no. It looks like you still have some more things in your account that you need to set up. I can't do those things though. Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, I'll step out of line and I'll come back and then I'll get it figured out. A couple minutes later. Hi, yeah, I'm back up here. I'm ready to pay. Okay, great. Let's get everything set up. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, yep, this is your total. You can pay with your Afterpay now. It's not working. Oh, that's weird. We're still really fucking busy. It looks like you never set up your card to your account. I literally did. I don't know what's going on. Here, I'm going to hand you my card and have you type in the numbers. Sir, I cannot do that. If you just want to put that in really quick, we can get you out of here. Hello, you all set to check out? Yeah, I am. Here's all my stuff. I also have a coupon to use, but I have no idea how to get to it. When did that become my problem? But here, let me be really nice and try to help you get into the app and find it. Okay, yeah, thanks. I also have another coupon I want to use. Oh, I'm so sorry. Our coupons don't stack. You can only use one at a time. Of course. Alright, I'm ringing you out. Oh, it looks like you were pre-approved for our store credit card. If you wanted to apply today, it's going to ask you on the pin pad what you wanted to do. I'm the lady. Literally just sitting there tapping my card on the tap section. Oh yeah, sorry ma'am. If you just want to hit no on the pin pad really quick, because I'm not even going to go through the fucking spiel again. If you just want to hit no on the pin. What is it asking me? God, these pin pads always ask me so many questions. Ma'am, it literally asked you one question. This one is one of those things that just drives me fucking crazy. Alright, I am checking you out. Alright, this is your total. Rummaging through their wallet, getting cash, drops the cash on the fucking counter. Meanwhile, this is me. That is so fucking rude. Stop doing it. Hello, ma'am. How can I help you today? Yeah, I need, like, a good moisturizer. I have really sensitive skin. I just need, like, a good moisturizer that's, like, really sensitive. Yeah, absolutely. My coworker and she shows her a moisturizer. I, alternatively, show her a different moisturizer. Alright, here's this moisturizer. It's really, really good, really, really safe for gentle skin. Super good, pretty cost effective. This one's an option if you want it. Okay, yeah, I think I'll just try this one today. Thank you. Proceeds to go up to the register and literally is mad that my coworker showed her a different moisturizer because it was like $38. And she was flabbergasted that we would even suggest that. These two things are practically one and the same. Hi, welcome to the register where I work. What's a good phone number for a rewards account? I am not giving you my phone number. Oh, that's fine. You don't have to. Do you know anybody else that might have a phone number with us? Well, I'm not giving you their phone number either. Okay. Hello, welcome to the register. All right, I am scanning you out. Oh, it looks like you were pre-approved for our store credit card. You could save about 20%. I do not need another credit card. Okay. All you had to say was no.
One time I was behind the register at Victoria's Secret. This customer walks in and immediately everybody spots her as a red flag. She's just picking up items, throwing them in her bag, not looking at sizes, not looking at colors. So everybody's like, Everyone's on their walkie like, watch this customer. She's coming to the fitting room. She's headed to the cash wrap. Somebody get her. Check her ID. Get her. Get her. She has a bag full of stuff. And guess who gets her at the register? Me. So she comes to my register and she dumps out her stuff. And we're having a regular conversation. Hi, how are you? Yada, yada, yada. Her total comes up to probably between $700 to $900. It was expensive. My manager is at the register next to me, talking to me on the walkie. Ashley, make sure you get that ID. Don't matter what she's using, make sure you get that ID. So I ask her for the ID because she's paying credit. Why do you need to ask for my ID? Just take it, run it. I'm like, no, ma'am, I'm sorry. I need your ID for the purchase. She starts to raise her voice at me. So she's raising her voice at me. And I'm like, but I couldn't. I just couldn't, y'all. So I was like, I can raise my voice too. Do you want to play this game? Because I'll win, promise. And she's like, oh, well, what time do you get off work? And I'm like, I'm closing. I'm actually getting off at 11. Would you like to pick me up? And then she calls me stupid. She's like, you're fucking stupid. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna eat that. Then she calls me a dumb bitch. Whew. So I took a deep breath. And I said, fuck you, you dumbass bitch. Your broke ass can't even afford these motherfucking clothes and you over here trying to scam me. Fuck off my line. And honestly, me and her just started going back and forth at each other like, My manager's like, go to the back, go to the back, go to the back. I'm still cursing her out as I'm walking to the back of the store. I really thought I would get fired, but I actually didn't.
So I work at a retail store and I'm sitting in the office with some of the other managers and we're like chit-chatting about things, and one of the associates over the walkie is like, oh my god, this lady is stealing. And so we have the camera sitting right there. We immediately turn, we look at the camera. She gives us the full description of this woman and we start watching the cameras. And we send out the team, we're like, guys, this is what she looks like. Start following her, like check out what she's doing. We're checking the cameras. And I'm watching the cameras and she didn't even pick up a single product. She's just walking around on the phone. But this is the exact description that our associate gave us. And she gave me the back. She was like, oh my god, like she's stealing. And we're like, what? But while we're watching these cameras for this lady, we're like, hold on. This whole other woman was stealing about half the store. She got a big old bag, just everything she wants. It's so messed up. Like, get a job. Get a life. I don't know. Go crochet or something. And it was like a mother and a son. Like the son was probably like around 8. What a terrible influence to be like taking your son with you to help you go steal. Terrible.
Today's episode of Why I Hate Working Retail, because y'all are fucking dumb. Like, y'all are so dumb. Please tell me why I was just going back and forth with this lady about a goddamn penny, y'all. A penny. A penny don't even got no damn value in this. A dollar barely equal a dollar in this day and age. You arguing with me over a penny? Okay. So, like I said in the previous story time, we have a table with $20 jeans. Yes, the sign says $19.99. Okay, cool. If she was going back and forth with me about the principle of the sign being $19.99 but the tag saying $20, I would have been like, okay, you got it. But that wasn't even her reasoning. Let me get into the story. So boom, mind you, little backstory, this same lady came in yesterday, tried on the jeans, looked at the tag, so she knew it was $20 because she looked at the tag for her size. So she knew that the tag said $20. Right. She came in the day before. Boom. So she came in today and she was like, oh, I'm going to get the jeans. So boom, she go get the jeans. She bring them up. And she automatically asked me, oh, are they $20 or are they $19? I said, they're $20. She said, no, but The tag on the other one said 19. So I go check, tag say $20. She gonna say, oh, but that sign right there says $19.99. I looked at her and I said, that's $20. Like, I looked at her, I said, that's $20. She gonna say, okay, I know that, but it makes a difference on what I'm trying to spend. So I said, okay, and I let her continue because I'm trying to see where you're going with this. It's a penny. So where are you going with this? So her reasoning for not wanting the jeans at $20, but wanting them at $19.99, this was her reasoning. Her reasoning was she only brought a $20 bill. She only planned on spending $20 even on the jeans. So she thought that because I rung them up as $20 even, that the tax was going to be somehow more than, it's a penny difference, girl. So she like, I only bought a $20 bill. I didn't plan on spending. She like, I only bought a $20 bill. I didn't plan on spending. I rung the jeans up. They rung up to $21.50. That sounds about right with tax. She was like, I didn't plan on spending $21.50. I only bought a $20 bill. And then she was like, if it was $19.99, then I could afford them. And I'm like, no, that's not how that works. Even if I rung them up at $19.99, there would still be tax. It would still come up to 21 something dollars. It might be like maybe 20 cents less, but that's about it. It's not going to make that big of a difference. And if you only came to the mall with $20, maybe you shouldn't be shopping. You have bigger fish to fry. Yeah? So we going back and forth. She like, but I want them at $19.99 because I only bought a $20 bill. And I'm trying to explain to her that either way, even if I rung them up at $19.99, it would still come up to 21 something. I even rung it up to show her, and she still wasn't getting it. Like, in her mind, if it was $19.99, it was just $19.99. There was never going to be any tax. And I'm like, it doesn't work like that. It literally doesn't work like that. And like, it literally does not work like that. It's a penny difference. I can see if the jeans said $19 without the 99, then okay, maybe you might have been around the $20 range. But it says $19.99. That 1 penny difference is not going to be the end all be all from whether it's $21 or $20 even. That's not how that works. Why do I have to explain tax to y'all at y'all grown ass age? You act like y'all never been anywhere before. Everywhere, except for the places that don't have tax, obviously. But you don't live in those places. You live here. And I know she lives here because I talked to her yesterday. You live here, so you know how tax works. Why are you acting like you don't know how tax works? Like, she was making me feel like I was the one that was dumb, trying to explain to her that 1 cent difference, it's still going to ring up as $21. No matter how you try to spin it, it's not going to be what you want either way. So after about 5 minutes of us going back and forth about the 1 cent difference in how tax works, she's like, I'm gonna just come back tomorrow. It's still going to be $21 whether you come back today, whether you come back tomorrow, whether you come back next year. It's still going to have tax. Maybe come back on tax-free week. I don't know. But baby girl, come on now. And mind you, she's like 60. She's like 60 years old. You mean to tell me you ain't never paid tax on nothing? Bye. I'm gonna call y'all back.
There were so many evil men at my shift last night. Starting the shift off bad, these guys came in and ordered a bunch of food on our kiosk. And then like after we handed everything out to them, they just stayed like by the counter and then were like whispering and like looking at me and my friend who were working together and like snickering. And I'm just like, okay, so you're definitely making fun of me right now, but it's whatever. But we were making like online orders, so we couldn't like just walk away. We had to just sit there and make the food and like listen to them laugh at us, but whatever. But then they leave the store, and I literally watched them go outside, and like 2 minutes after they walk out, they're sitting in front of the store by their car, and they call the store. And I knew it was them because the name on the phone was the same name that they put into the kiosk. So I pick up knowing it's them, and then they're like, we want to place a catering order. And I'm pretty sure they thought that they were out of my eyesight because I think they thought that I was in the back, but they were literally directly in front of the store, just like slightly to the left. So it's like I wouldn't be able to see them from like the main strip of like the back area, but I can see them from the register. And I literally was standing at the register, but they were facing the other way, so they didn't know I could see them. So yeah, they say like, we want to place a catering order, and I'm like, okay. And they're like, we want like 200 of these. When can you have that done by today? And I said, if you place an order that large, you have to place it in advance. Like, you can't ask for it day of. And I'm literally like watching them outside the window, like laughing while they're doing this. So I know they weren't being for real. So then they were like, well, what if we get it for tomorrow? Then like, when can you have it done by like 5 a.m. tomorrow? I said, no. And then they said, well, what if we want it for like 5 a.m. on Halloween? I said, oh, sorry, we already have too many orders on Halloween. We can't take any more. And they're like, and then I just hung up. Good prank, guys. I really badly wanted to be like, hey, I see you guys outside. Why don't you come in and ask me about it? But I'm just like, okay, yes, wasting my time is so funny. Like, I actually have so much stuff to do right now, but sitting on the phone and talking to you sound like a fucking dumbass is what I want to be doing instead. So they finally left, and I like breathed a breath of relief, thinking I'm not going to have to deal with anybody annoying anymore. But then another group of freaking teenage guys come in and also order on the kiosk and put like stupid names in as their thing. This one wasn't that bad, but it's just like, it always makes me roll my eyes. They put like stupid names in, and then when we call them, they're sitting there like, oh. I'm like, oh, you got me. That was a good one, guys. Nobody has ever done that before. This is the most original thing I've ever seen. The names were definitely like references to stuff, but I have no idea what the references were, so I hope it wasn't like anything bad, but it just sounded like maybe like a video game character or something. Next evil man that actually gave me a freaking fright. We had this like Halloween event going on last night, so we were giving out like just like candy to little kids that came by in costumes. And there was this like family coming in to get their candy, and as they're in there, I hear like something slam into our window, and I look up, and it was this like guy who definitely was like either drunk or on drugs, but he like came up, and we have like one of those like little like stand sign things outside. He went up to it and literally just like fucking pushed it over into the window, and then like stared in and made eye contact with my coworker, and then just like walked away. And we were so scared because he had walked by our store like 20 times. Like, he kept walking up and down the strip and kept passing our store. And then he just pushed our sign over and was like, so we're like, what is wrong? So then my friend apparently just happened to have a taser on her. So she like kept it up by us, like where we sit. And was just like, oh, I'm going to keep this here just in case. The shift got even worse because my boss was expecting the Halloween event to be really small. But we literally ran out of candy within like the first half an hour of it, and it was a 3-hour event. So then it just was really bad, and we had to keep like handing out a bunch of different stuff, and it was super busy and just making it so much worse. And then people see all these kids coming in. Oh, also the event was from like 5 to 8, and our store closes at 7. But all these people were seeing the kids come in to get candy close to 7. So they just assumed we were like still open for a while and kept coming in. We had all these kids in there trying to get candy. And then we had a bunch of people coming in that were actually ordering stuff. And there's only 2 of us working. So it was pretty much like one person was dealing with the kids and one person was having to take and make the orders for the random people coming in. And this old couple got like a semi-big order, like a medium-sized order, literally 5 minutes before closed. And then their order was like one of those orders where it's like everything is fucking custom. Everything had modifications and stuff, and then they wanted everything like bagged a certain way. So I accidentally messed one of their things up and made them a new one. And then when I gave it out, I was like, oh, just so you know, like I messed this part up, so you have like some extra food in there. And then this freaking old man, also the whole time I was making their food, they were like sitting watching me just going. And then when I handed it out and said that, he was like, do you want to go ahead and mess up some more for us? And I just went, But then the last evil man of the night, this guy actually wasn't evil compared to the other ones, but I'm just like, no means no king. But this dad showed up with his daughter like really late to the Halloween thing. I mean, it was still technically going on, but it was only like 20 minutes left. And like I said, we closed at 7. So we had already been closed for like 40 minutes at this point. And he walks by and sees us inside. Mind you, all the lights were off. Also, the lights had been off since we closed, and people kept coming by and like grabbing the door and trying to open it, or like just standing outside the window like wanting us to give them candy. I'm like, so in what world would you try to go into a store where all of the lights are off? Do you think I'm trying to get in the Halloween spirit? No. This isn't a haunted house. But anyways, like I was saying, this dad shows up like kind of late with his daughter, and we were like about to leave, but he's like outside the window and just is like staring in, and I like accidentally made eye contact with him, and he just was like pointing at his daughter's trick-or-treat bag, like, and we were out of everything at this point. Like, we didn't even have anything to give out because people had come by earlier after we closed, like, and kind of looked in the window, like, and I ran out and opened the door and gave them the candy or whatever, but like we literally didn't have anything else. And so I like looked at him and was like, we're out. And then he just kept going, and then my friend just looked out the window and went, wasn't getting the hint and just kept standing there and looking at us. So I literally looked in and went, which, like, again, I feel bad, but I couldn't even give him anything. We didn't have anything to give. That was basically it. Bye.
I just accidentally deleted the video that I was in the middle of recording. What the fuck? Anyways, as I was saying, something that I forgot to tell you guys is that when I first applied to the tanning salon, there was this girl named Jackie that would work there, and my friends Kylie and Katie worked there, and they were like trying really hard to get me. Oh, and my friend Alicia, they're all trying so hard to get that Jackie girl to hire me. So when I went to the interview, I thought I nailed it, and I thought I was going home with the job. Like, I was like, there's no way I didn't get that fucking job. She didn't hire me. And you know why? She went back to the whole crew. She didn't know that these were all my friends. She went back to everybody, and she was like, yeah, I couldn't hire him because he's gay. She was like, gays are just too much drama, and he's not going to do a good job, I can tell. And plus the district manager will not like him because he's gay. Which the district manager is the same district manager that I had when I actually started working there. And so when my friend got promoted and ended up being the manager, and hired me, they told me all of this, obviously, and I told the district manager what she said, and she was like, there's no fucking way she said that. She was like, I was like, I swear to God. And everyone's like, no, I swear, like, that's what she said. And she was like, why would she say that about me? I'm a fucking Democrat. She was like, I fucking love the gays. I would never not hire somebody because they're gay. What? So yeah, Jackie, fuck you. And I ended up doing your job 10 times better than you. I think you were just threatened by me, intimidated even. I would be too. I would be too. Oh, I went in on my summer Fridays, sheer skin tint, and everybody's been complimenting my skin lately, and I think that's why. Like, it literally, it's like, I feel like it doesn't, it looks, okay, now it's matching better. That was scaring me a little bit. Also, the concealer I use is Glossier, the Glossier Balm Concealer, because you guys keep asking. Everything I use is super light coverage because I don't like a lot of coverage. I like my freckles to still shine through, and I don't really have like any skin problems, to be honest. Like, I feel like I have pretty nice skin, so I don't have anything to cover. If that makes sense. I still don't have a brow pencil, so I need to go get one literally after this. I'm really fucking annoyed. Anyways, the real reason why I wanted to talk today is because I used to work at TJ Maxx when I was like 18. It was like my first real retail job. Like, I worked at Planet Fitness, but they ended up firing me. Like, fuck them. So I don't even count that shit. I worked there for like fucking what, a month? Go to hell. Mind you, the reason why they fired me is because I was using my phone, and the only reason why they knew I was using my phone is because I posted a picture of myself behind the counter on Instagram at the time, and they ended up printing out that photo and presented it to me in a meeting. They were like, yeah, we have to fire you. Are you gonna frame that? I hope the fuck you do. It's a great picture of me, bitch. Anyway, so I used to work at TJ Maxx, and it was actually a lot of fun because I worked with my two best friends, Katie and Kendra. We had a blast. I'm not joking. But also, we were making like $7.25 an hour. I don't know how we survived, but somehow we were going out to eat every single Friday. We were going out to eat every weekend. And shopping every weekend. I don't know. Our paychecks were like $16, and somehow I was paying my own phone bill. I don't know what was different in the world then, but I low-key miss it. I miss it bad. Anyways, yeah, it was a lot of fun. I don't have like crazy customer stories. Like, I watched these girls like steal a couple of times, and we were told not to chase them because there was somebody who stole at a different TJ Maxx, and somebody ended up chasing them and got shot. So, oh, I'm going in with my Makeup by Mario bronzer. Sometimes when I worked at the register up front, I would purposely not scan in certain items for people, especially if I knew that they were a mom, like if they had kids or something with them, or if they were buying kids stuff, because you'll always get a discount if I'm at the register, bitch. I don't give a fuck. I do support stealing. The weirdest thing about the job is that all the managers, listen, this was in Maine, Auburn, Maine, okay? We're not from the South. We're not Southern. We're Northerners, whatever the fuck it's called. And all the managers made us call them Mr. and Mrs. Mr. Legassi, he was a fucking wreck. Mrs. Robichaux, she always had spit in the corner of her mouth. And Mrs. Ross, she was terrifying. I thought she was a lesbian. Like, she gave Butch, you know what I mean? She really scared me. Anytime she would laugh, oh my God, it was was like a witch. I was so scared. Something about TJ Maxx that was also really annoying is that they really pushed credit cards. I didn't realize it was a sales job. Also, there was no reward for it. You know what they would give us? A candy bar. A big size candy bar, like a Hershey bar or something, or a Kit Kat. Yeah, a bitch, I'm anorexic. Well, I was anorexic at the time. You thought I was gonna eat that? No. Every time I got a credit card, that didn't motivate me. Food? You're trying to pay me in food? I would just give the candy bar to somebody else. So I was doing this thing called recovery one time on the floor. So that's just like when you like organize all the clothes, you make them neat and blah, blah, blah. And you take the clothes from the, oh my God, this shit is still fucking leaking so bad. Like, Elf, do something. Fix it. Anyways, I was doing recovery and I grabbed the clothes from the fitting room to go put them back onto the floor. As I'm putting the clothes away, something wet touches my arm and I'm like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck could that possibly be? I grabbed the shirt. Piss. There's piss. A shirt covered in piss. This bitch that was in the fitting room that was putting clothes up on the racks just saw a wet shirt, saw it on the ground, picked it up, put it on a hanger, and hung it up. Are you fucking dumb? I went back there, I was tweaking out on her. I was like, are you fucking for real? Why wouldn't you throw this shit away? She's like, I didn't know what to do. Why didn't you tell somebody? You just let me grab that shit? Oh, I had piss all over me. Somebody had pissed in the fitting room, cleaned it up with the shirt that they tried on, and then just left it there. And this bitch, instead of telling somebody, sees it, picks it up, puts it on a hanger, has us take care of it. Doesn't say a word. Jasmine, when I catch you. Also, something that I used to think was so messed up is they would hire like special needs people, right? At TJ Maxx, at this TJ Maxx, which is good. You know what I mean? Like, great. They would keep them in the back. They were hiding them like Anne Frank. That shit used to piss me off. I was always like, what if they want to be up here? That's not fucking fair for them. You're like hiding them from the public. But now I'm like, now that I'm older, I'm like, dang, they had it easy. They didn't have to deal with people. I bet they loved that. I remember when they had me work back there one time, I was a little confused. I'm not gonna lie. Did you think I was on the short bus? I'm not trying to be rude, but why am I back here? I'm gonna get canceled for that. But anyways, I remember they had me back there, sorting through all the clothes and shit, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I started stealing. There's no supervision. And they're not gonna tell on me. They're not even paying attention to me. Also, something that was also really annoying is when people would be like customers would be like, do you have this out back? Girl, we got one of those, period. But I'm gonna go check for you because you're gonna make me, and I'm gonna stand back there so I can use my phone. And then I'm gonna come out here and tell you the bad news. Oh no, there was none of that. But you can come next Friday when we get another truck. I'm dying to know why some of you think that we would have back stock at TJ Maxx. We get shit that people don't want. We get shit that's out of style. We get shit that's broken. We get shit that was stitched wrong. Are you for real? They get the bulk of shit that doesn't sell anywhere else. Like, also I remember people would be like, oh, you must get a great discount. Girl, it's 10%. They give us 10% off. And then randomly, throughout the year, they'd be like, surprise, 15% off. The old folks that worked there, that had worked there for like 30 years would go fucking crazy. They'd start hanging things up out back and they'd be like, oh, I'm gonna get this with the 15% off on Tuesday. What? You think that's a discount? There are people that have been working there basically their whole lives, like since they're in diapers. And they were proud to tell you too. I'm not job shaming. I'm not job shaming at all. I just thought it was a little crazy that somebody that's 50 is beefing with me and also thought she was better than me because she's worked here longer. Okay, I'm a fetus. Also, they would randomly start putting me, oh, they didn't like when we talked. They hated that we talked to each other. So let's say so I used to work at the jewelry counter a lot. They put me in there because I was good at selling credit cards, which was fucking annoying. And I wasn't even good. I sold like 2 and they were like, oh, our hero. All hail Trayvon. Here's 2 candy bars. What the fuck? Anyway, so they would put me in the jewelry counter and they did that because they also thought I was friendly. They thought I was friendly. I was no longer friendly because you're making me stand in the jewelry counter for mad fucking long. I don't want to be in here. I don't want to sell jewelry. Oh, well, maybe you can make it, maybe you can spruce it up and make it. I can't. There's only so many ways I can organize this jewelry in this jewelry counter. Like, leave me the fuck alone. Anyway, that's besides the point. So they always had me in jewelry and then they would put my best friend, Kendra, in the fitting room or Katie in the fitting room. And they would never put boys in the fitting room. Like, what the fuck? You think I'm gonna spy on the girls? Weirdo. Anyways, they wouldn't let us talk. This is a jewelry counter. This is a fitting room. They wouldn't let us talk. If they caught us talking, we had these like little intercom, like little earpiece things, and they would talk on the little walkie-talkie, and they'd be like, hey guys, stop talking. Hey, get to work. Get to work. Our work is just standing. That's all we do is just stand. What do you want me to do? You act like we're doing fucking labor. You act like we're actually doing something. We're not. This is TJ Maxx. Let us have a little key on the side. Like, managers hate when you have a good time at work. Anyways, I ended up quitting. Well, they fired me technically because they wouldn't let me quit. I remember I had a little, what is it called? Like a little review. They were like, you can get up to a 25-cent raise. They gave me 24 cents. They took off 1 penny because I wasn't smiling enough at the jewelry counter. She said, you need to smile more and greet them. I said, I quit. And she's like, no, please. And I was like, well, what do you mean, no, please? She's like, you can do like 1 day a week. And I was like, no, I can't. She goes, yes, you can. Miss Robichaux, I never showed up again. Did I? Exactly. You should have gave me that 25 cents, bitch. This would look so much better if I had an eyebrow pencil, wouldn't it? Yeah, it would. I look incomplete. Elf, please. Anyways, I'm gonna go buy an eyebrow pencil and fucking